Okay, so here's the plan today. I have to get under the house and run some conduit. Okay, I think the first thing I have to do is start getting my runs set. I need a vent removal. I'm just hitting right here a little bit. Let me knock that out. Can you see where I'm going with this? Here's our conduit coming. Here's where it's going. It looks like I'm going to have to notch through 2 joists to get it over there. Now this 1.5-inch conduit is not exactly easy to work with. We can't just bend it all over the place. And something really important to remember when running conduit, you're not allowed to bend more than 4 90-degree bends in a run. So that means between box to box. If you have more than 4 90s, this being a 90 degrees, well, if you have more than 4 of these, you would have to put in a pull point, like another box, a junction box. And putting a junction box in for 1.5 inches, it's not worth it. So I have to keep this to a minimum, and we already have 1, 2, 3, 4. We can't do any more bends, so we have to keep this very slim. So we're going to turn it, go straight through these, and turn it and connect it up like that. We can't ride under the joists because we have beams everywhere, and it's easier to cut through joists than through a beam. All right, let me get my hole saw. Oops. What strange wood. This is very sticky, thick wood. Not normal. I can't explain to you how this wood feels. It's very sappy, very sticky. And the sawdust just turns into glue on the blade. Finally! So I have to take a time out to explain something. Some of you guys, if you know your stuff, will say, Doug, you just ruined the structural integrity of those joists. You never notch the bottom of a floor joist. This is the rule for you guys. You want to keep notching at a very minimum on the bottom of your joists, because think about a floor and how the weight is pushing down. The bottom of that board, the floor joist, has tension on it. It's stretching, right? If you cut that, you just broke the strength of the wood. The strength is at the bottom. So you really shouldn't notch the bottom. And if you do notch it, there's a rule that you go by. Look up joist notching guide, and I'm sure you'll see it. But you're not allowed by code to notch greater than 1/6 of your joist height. We're working with 2x8s, so these are about 7.25. They're actually 7.5 because they're a little bit older. But let's say 7.25 inches. which means I'm only allowed to notch about 1.25 inches, a hair less than that really. And I just did a 2-inch hole on the bottom of my joist. So I am outside of code and that would not pass. But sometimes these things happen, so I'm going to show you how to get around it. So let's face it, sometimes you have an odd situation in your floor. You're going to be running plumbing lines which are huge. It could be a toilet, it could be a sink. Sometimes you have very little choice but to cut through a joist. Plumbers do it all the time. They cut like crazy. And just like us, we can't go through the beams. I can't go under the beams. And the conduit has to go through the joist. So what I did was I picked the best spot to go through the joist. I went through the joist in a spot that doesn't carry a lot of weight on the floor. I also made sure I was in the end third of the joist span. When you notch a joist, you really need to do it within the end thirds. Now you never want to notch a joist in the center of a span. Always in the first thirds. Stay out of that middle zone. And now this is the trick. Right here. This is a structural reinforcement plate for reinforcing notched joists. This is designed specifically for this purpose. So I picked up 2 of these so that I could get through my joists safely and still pass. So this joist reinforcement plate, this one's designed for a 2x8 like I have. It comes with the hardware. All we have to do is screw it on and our joist is back to full structural strength again. So as you can see, now our joists are fully supported. This one's got some cracking in it. I'm a little worried about it because it's so dry and old and it has some bug damage. If I need to, I can sister a board on the back here. That would not be a problem. I guess I'll just try to finish up these conduits. Excusez-moi. Well guys, I just finished up getting this all connected. I'm going to try to show it to you, but we are running out of light. It's been hard to work down here and film this. I actually had to notch my holes bigger unexpectedly. My connections landed right where the joists were, unfortunately, but that's okay. I just chipped it away just to get it to fit like that without rubbing. You can see I got one strap right here, but I need a lot more. I'm going to do that soon. Just wanted to show you guys how to deal with that. So I'm sorry if the filming wasn't as great as it could have been down there. I need to work on my lighting setup, but you guys get the point. We have our conduit run. Yeah, we had to notch 2 joists, but I showed you guys how to deal with that. And I think that's really helpful to know because there's a lot of people out there, and I've seen it, that run plumbing lines and have to notch joists in an unfortunate way. Or like when you're using a toilet flange with the offset, sometimes your toilet is going to land basically right where your joist is, and you'll have to notch the top of your joist and use an offset toilet flange. Well, these things are designed for that, where they'll reinforce that joist that you have to notch away. So, I don't know, pretty cool product made in USA. I hope you guys like it.